Hi, I'm Roxy Keller, and I'm baking my way through the Great British Baking Show Challenges. It's week 5 of 2017, and it's pudding week. So for the British, that means a steamed cake. And I've never made one of these. I don't know if I'll make one again. Maybe, if it tastes good. It doesn't really sound that difficult, but you have to have a pudding bowl. I I just bought a plastic one again because I don't know if I'll ever do one again. So I just bought a little cheap plastic one that has a lid on it. And this bakes by steaming in a big pot on the stove. So I'll give that a try today. And my inspiration is really two of the bakers on the show that did this challenge, and one is Sophie that did a ginger, fig, and honey steam pudding, and then another one, Stacy, who did the Bakewell flavored pudding. So there is a recipe online for Stacy's Bakewell steamed pudding, and I would love that. I love cherries, I love almond, I love them together, but I don't have any fresh cherries. So I am doing a ginger, orange, fig, and probably add some almonds for crunch steamed pudding. So I won't have a jam to put on it, but I will have the candied. I have candied orange and candied ginger. So these will go in the steamed pudding, but also on top as decoration. And I have some dried golden figs that will go inside. So I was thinking that some toasted almonds would go on top, just some slivered almonds that are toasted just for decoration. So let's get started. The bakers are challenged with making what they call a school steamed pudding. So I'm imagining that this must be kind of an old-fashioned bake. And as I mentioned, this is my pudding basin. That's what they call it. They call this a basin. And so it's not going to be that large. It'll probably only have maybe 6 servings. And the idea is to have a basin like this, put water in it, have some sort of a saucer. I have this ramekin, and put that in, and then set your cake batter on top, and then close it and let that steam. So I need to put this on the stovetop and let the water start getting warm while I mix the batter for the sponge. Also, I mentioned that I'm going to put toasted sliced almonds on top. So I have some sliced almonds on a baking sheet. I'm going to put that in the oven at 325 Fahrenheit, probably only for about 4 minutes. So I've got that on the stovetop, letting that water get to boiling. For the sponge, I start with 135 grams of butter. Of course, she calls for unsalted. I'm using salted butter. And 135 grams of dark brown sugar. Her recipe calls for muscovado sugar, which apparently is British granulated sugar with some molasses in it, so similar to our light and dark brown sugar. 135 grams of dark brown sugar. I need to beat the butter and sugar together. It says for 5 minutes. It's a pretty long time, but it says it should be light and fluffy. I'm using the paddle attachment. I let that blend for 5 minutes, and it definitely looks fluffy. I did scrape down the sides and the bottom partway through. Next, I need to add 2 eggs, and it didn't say room temperature, but mine are. And I'm going to whisk those before I put them in with the sugar. I will slowly add in the 2 beaten eggs. since hers was a Bakewell tart, and apparently there can be cherry and almond or raspberry and almond Bakewell tarts. Either way, they have almond, just like I want to do. So it says to add some almond extract. It says to add half a teaspoon of almond extract. I only have about a quarter, so I'm going to add all of that in there. And since I want mine to have a bit of an orange flavor, I'm going to add some orange emulsion. It's not orange extract. It's a very white color. 1 teaspoon of orange emulsion. And mix. The next ingredient on the list is 135 grams of self-rising flour, and that just means that it's flour, like all-purpose flour, plus they've added some baking powder and some salt. Well, I have salt in my butter, and I'm just going to use all-purpose flour and add a teaspoon of baking powder. 135 grams of all-purpose flour, 1 teaspoon of baking powder. It actually says to alternate adding the flour with milk. Oh well. It says to add 2 to 3 tablespoons of whole milk, and I only have 2%, so I think I'll add 2 tablespoons of 2%, and if it seems like it needs a little more, I'll put a tablespoon of the heavy cream. 2 tablespoons of milk. That 2 tablespoons of milk made it pretty good, but I still need to add 40 grams of ground almonds, which I'm using almond flour. So I think I will go ahead and add another tablespoon of milk. I'll use heavy whipping cream. 1 tablespoon of heavy whipping cream. And while it's blending, I'll add the 40 grams of almond flour. I don't want to overmix that, of course, because that can develop gluten, which will make your cake tough. I need to chop some fig to mix in. It's a pretty small cake, so I don't want to add too much fruit. This is about 3 chopped dried figs, which weighs 25 grams. The ginger is already cubed. But it's in a really syrupy gel, and I don't want all of that moisture, so I'm going to run it through this small sieve, and we'll see how much I have. It's got a little heat to it. I just tasted it. 40 grams of candied chopped ginger. I made a bit of a mess with the candied ginger, so I'm going to strain the candied orange into this bowl so that the syrup goes in here. That's nice and sweet. $40 grams of candied orange. The candied orange needs to be chopped a little bit. $40 grams of chopped candied orange. Now I need to stir that to get all of the bits around. Okay, so her recipe calls for a 1-liter pudding basin, and that's exactly what this is. So hopefully I don't have too much batter. Seems like a lot. It doesn't say anything about spraying this, but I'm going to give it a little bit of baking spray. Let's see if it fits. We know it will rise some, so that seems like it's filled to about the right level. Okay, so I'm supposed to snap the lid in place, and the traditional ones I think don't have snap-on lids, so they put parchment paper and foil, and then they tie it with a string. So that's what theirs looks like. But some of them have a little handle, which would be useful. But now I'm supposed to put this in the pot. Inside the pot, I have a ramekin so that I can set it up on the ramekin. This shouldn't sit all the way down at the bottom of the pot. And then I'm supposed to fill the water, make sure the water comes up to about 3/4 of the way up the sides. Close it, and it's supposed to cook, according to these instructions, for 2 hours. I might just let it go for 1 hour and 45 and take it out. I have another one of these, and obviously it's not a very large pudding, so I could make another one. And so if this one doesn't work out, maybe I'll just make another one. Or if it does work out, I might make another one. That way I have enough for people to try. There is my pot of steaming water, and I'm going to add the pudding basin right there. Now I'm going to add a bit of water to bring up the level to 3/4 of the way up the sides of the pudding. It's a little concerning. It's almost floating. I don't think it's going to float away though. Add the lid and let it steam for 2 hours or 1 hour 45. Okay, it's been steaming for about 2 hours, and I went ahead and did 2 hours because of my stove, how it goes on and off, and sometimes it wasn't boiling. So it says to take the lid off. It smells good. I hope it's done. I think it is. We'll see. Feels a bit wet, but I don't know what a steamed pudding is supposed to feel like. I just know that they don't want it to be stodgy. I guess we'll see. Wait 5 minutes and then turn it out onto a plate. I'm going to let that steamed pudding cool just a little bit more, and along with the school steamed pudding, they are supposed to serve a custard with that. This will be a simple vanilla custard. Since I have so many flavors in the steamed pudding, I don't want to add anything extra. So it starts with cream on the stovetop, and it says 275 milliliters of single cream. I don't know what that is. So I'm going to use 200 milliliters of my 2% milk, and then add 75 milliliters of heavy cream. 200 milliliters of milk, 75 milliliters of heavy whipping cream. She says to add the seeds from half a vanilla pod. I don't have that. I'll just add some vanilla bean paste. That was about half a teaspoon of vanilla bean paste. I'll heat that on the stovetop until steaming but not boiling. Also for the custard, I need 3 egg yolks, so I'm going to reserve the egg whites for something, I don't know. I don't think I'll need it for this recipe. So this custard won't be set, it'll be more of a liquidy, but it calls for 1 teaspoon of cornstarch, maybe to give it a little bit of thickness. In with the egg yolks, I'm putting 1 teaspoon of cornstarch and 1 tablespoon of white granulated sugar. I'm supposed to whisk this until it turns light and creamy. Okay, the milk is steaming but not boiling, so I'm going to slowly add it to the eggs. If there's a trick for doing this, maybe I'm just supposed to pour a little and stir a little. I don't know, but if anybody knows a trick, let me know. Okay, now it goes back in the saucepan, back onto the stove until it becomes thick enough that it will coat the back of a spoon. Okay, now I need to strain the custard. Okay, I'm ready to turn out my steamed pudding, and it kept moving around in the water, I think because there was so much water, and this plastic basin is not heavy enough, so it's not quite level on the top. So I'm going to scrape off just a little bit so that when I flip it over, hopefully it'll be standing straight up. Okay, let's see how it does. Well, there you go. I think it's done. Again, I don't know. I'm going to warm up a little bit of this orange syrup to pour over the top. I'm going to warm up about a 1/4 cup. With it warmed, it's a little bit thinner, so I'm hoping if I poke a few holes, maybe it'll go into the cake. We'll see. Adding a few pieces of candied orange just for decoration. I'll do the same with the almonds. I think that's it. Some of the bakers in their pudding basin, they lined it with fruit and then poured the cake batter in. Then when they turned it out, that fruit was all on the outside. So I think if I do this again, I might try to do that maybe with some oranges. That'd be nice. But other than that, I guess it's just down to giving it a try. So the instructions say that the custard is supposed to go into a jug. I'm guessing like a creamer pouring thing. I don't have anything like that, so I'm just going to put it in here. It's the closest thing I have to a pouring thing with a spout.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. Just put it right here in the middle. So, husband Chauncey.
Hello again.
I have made a school steamed pudding.
School steamed pudding.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a British thing. And
Naturally.
obviously it doesn't look like what we call a pudding. But it has, it's like a cake. It has ginger, figs,
Okay.
candied orange, and almonds. And this is supposed to be a custard that you pour on it. I don't know. That's a British thing too, but it's not very sweet, so I don't know. You can decide if you want to try it or not.
Try it all together.
Okay.
Yeah, they definitely have a different definition of pudding.
See what it looks like.
Like a very, very moist cake.
Yeah. Hopefully it's moist and not stodgy.
It smells good.
It does. There you go.
Okay. I'll try it first without the custard. Like I said, it looks like a very, very moist cake. Like it's only, like it needs to be in the oven like about 10 more minutes. You know. Warm. Very good.
It says I was supposed to put it on a warm plate. Apparently you're supposed to serve it warm. And yeah, I was afraid it was going to be really wet. And it is wet, but it's still kind of fluffy too, isn't it?
What are the crunchy bits? Is that the ginger?
Well,
Candied ginger?
There's figs, ginger.
Oh, maybe the figs.
Probably the figs.
Okay. I like it like this.
Good. You want to try? Just put it on, just a little drop. Like that just, I don't know, just doesn't have much flavor to me.
All right. We'll see how this goes. I'll get a piece with it. So there we go. It adds a little bit of flavor to it, but not much. Like you said, it's not really sweet. It's kind of a side enhancement for it, but it doesn't need it at all.
Okay.
I think it's great.
I'm excited.
It's very good.
I was mostly concerned about it being stodgy, and I don't think it is. I think
it's not stodgy at all.
No, it's got like every time Prue would taste one, she would say, it's very thick, it's very heavy, it's very stodgy. And then like one or two of them, she was like, oh, it's like a little bit light, it's lighter. So
I know what Paul would do.
What? Yay.
Give her a handshake.
Okay.
No, it's really good.
All right. Yay.
Delicious.
Thank you.
Welcome.
You can finish that if you want.
I need a little more of this.
Okay. Like that, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like I said, it adds another level to it, but it doesn't
take away.
Yeah, it doesn't take away, and it doesn't overpower. So,
okay. All right.
Sound good. All right.
All right.
I'm going to take this with me.
Okay, so that is the end of the episode for the signature challenge of Pudding Week. So the next challenge, I may not do it right now because it is a molten lava cake and it makes 6 of them and you're supposed to eat them right out of the oven. So I'll have to wait until we have some people over so that I can make them and have them ready right out of the oven. The next episode I'll record is the Showstopper Challenge, which is an ornamental trifle terrine. I'm making a strawberry lemon. It's kind of like an entremet cake, except it's not covered with a mirror glaze. So mousse cake, what I would probably call pudding, in a nice loaf. So looking forward to that. Hi. Well, I took the steamed pudding to work and let people try it, and again had my little survey that people could fill out anonymously to let me know what they think. So let me share with you. We gave them a scale of 1 to 10 and asked them to judge appearance, creativity, color and shape, texture and flavor. So this person gave a 10 on appearance, 9 on creativity, 8 on color and shape, 6 on texture and flavor. And they put that on the flavor because it says the ginger flavor was a little too strong for me. It looked pretty. The custard was a great compliment. So it's kind of funny because I'm not a big lover of ginger. So I was kind of surprised that somebody thought there was too much. I actually really liked it. Okay, let's see. So I actually know who this is. This one has a 10 on everything, but an 8 on texture and flavor because she doesn't like panettone bread or panettone cakes, you know, the kind with chopped fruits in it. So she said she ate the whole thing, but she said it looks amazing, and it's just not fruit in cakes. I think it's just not her thing. So this person didn't make any comments, but they said appearance 10, creativity 8, color and shape 9, texture and flavor 10. So I guess they liked it. And finally, appearance 9, creativity 10, color and shape 9, texture and flavor 9, between 9 and 10. Texture was incredible on the steamed pudding. Fruit was distributed well. The custard was a good idea, but needed a bolder flavor. I completely agree. I thought it needed some more vanilla or something. I thought it was, just a little dull, I guess. Anyway, so I guess overall, pretty good. I certainly liked it.